Hello and welcome back, everyone, to what is now game 3 of our series for today, Sengoku versus V3 Esports Round 2 of our summer playoffs. And what a series it has been so far. V3 Esports came out the gates hot with a fresh pick, with a little bit of Scion flexing work, a little bit of reminiscence of some early Gigabyte Marines for those of you that were watching back in 2017, but coming right back at him, Sengoku kind of threw the book at him, and it's a hefty textbook. It is one that Sengoku wrote themselves, and they kind of just played their style to perfection. I talked a little bit in the opening about how Sengoku really perfected their identity with this kind of just slow, methodical play style over the course of Spring Split, where they were a little bit rockier. They were still doing well, but they didn't have quite the same identity. Coming into summer, it felt like they owned it. They really took it and made it their own. And I think this game was exactly evidence of that. V3 put up a good fight. They did well in some areas. They just weren't quite able to bring all the pieces together. And Sengoku, if you're not bringing all the pieces together against Sengoku, playing their style, playing their A1 comp, they're starting, this is the comp that they're going to start on. This is the comp they're going to try to win with. So if you can't beat it, well, V3 are going to fall by the wayside. And that's just sort of what happened here. Sengoku bided their time. They served it well. They came back swinging, and ultimately, it's going to be a win for Sengoku. I definitely think that there were opportunities where V3 could have continued to be more aggressive, and I think they sort of maybe rested a little while too long on their laurels, with just in regards to kind of maybe lacking a little bit of confidence to continue making plays and lacking a little bit of initiative throughout the mid to late-ish end of the game. There was definitely still opportunities for them to be finding plays that they just didn't quite feel like they had it all together, which, it happens. They weren't exactly ahead at any point this game, it felt like. Sengoku, even all things considered, were like 2k gold ahead at multiple points throughout the early game, so maybe some things that can be fixed up here shortly, and that will definitely have to they'll definitely have to be fixed up here in Champ Select if V3 want to revolutionize anything, bring out any more exciting picks for us. As they are going to be on the blue side once again, sticking to old reliable V3, happy to take up this blue side time and time again. While Sengoku are going to be sticking to some fairly familiar bands, while V3 looking to be doing the same. Would expect a set band coming out to round this one out for Sengoku. I'm surprised that V3 are not looking into an Azir ban, just to force Pyrion onto something that he hasn't been playing already. But it's not exactly like the Azir has been super, super impactful, at least until the point where Azir is just always going to be impactful at around that 3-item mark. So, possibly things that V3 are thinking about going into this draft. And now there's a couple good picks up for grabs. Set definitely being one of them. Karma on the table as well. So maybe V3 can look for a very similar draft, as this is going to be Lilia being passed over if Sengoku want it. But there is also Graves available, which is a blank specialty. But Bard is actually going to be locked in here. Are we going to be seeing an Ashe Bard coming out from Sengoku? We've seen Ashe Bard lead many a team to victory, especially in Week 7. It felt like there was a surge of Ashe Bards coming out into the meta. Just that kind of catch potential that it offers was really starting to rise, as Bard Graves is going to be locked in blank, just picking himself his jungler. He says, hey, worked last game. I felt confident on it. He executed it well too, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, V3 I'm going to be looking at the Lilia once again. So Boogie wants the run back here, but what are you pairing it with? We might just see a Karma coming in again for V3 Esports. If they're able to replicate their same draft from the first game. The question is what AD will be picked up alongside it. The risky thing about Kalista here is that Ashe is still open and would incentivize Sengoku going for Ashe Bard. But it does not seem like that is going to deter V3 for now. And it's honestly kind of fine for V3 to be doing this. The amount of dives that they were able to pull off, even with an Aphelios on their team, was just so good once they had set in the support position. So if you're Sengoku, you might want to be reading that out right away, as Azir is going to be locked in once again for Pyrion. Happy to pick that champion for himself. Now, if you are Sengoku, there's a couple bans you can still be looking at. You can try to pinch away some of the supports if you want to force the set down there. You can also try and ban away a couple more of Ace's champions, like LeBlanc, and other champions. Just try and see if you can stress his champion pool a little bit more into the Azir, as he's had a little bit of a rough streak trying to lane into the Azir. Solo 1v1, he's just always about, not too far behind. It's usually only about like 10 to 15 CS. But it's considerable when you're playing into a champion that should be a scaler. As Ashe is banned away, V3 can take a couple ADs off the table. They might go for a similar round 2 of bans if they want to go Ashe Renekton once again and keep Renekton away from Opperman. Ornn is going to be banned away, and I don't mind the Ornn ban here. I definitely think that Sengoku possibly seeing a little bit of value in the long-range engage option that V3 would have if they drafted an Ornn, but it was only hovered last game. It wasn't actually locked in. And then Ashe, Ezreal both going to be banned away. Will Sengoku go for a Senna here is kind of the question. They could go for a Kog'Maw, although it is very risky to leave a Kog'Maw in a lane with a Kalista. Bard or no Bard, that is hard to ask. Jhin also an option. Bard Jhin is a fairly decent lane. Bard can set up very well for getting the empowered autos, splash damage over, which can set up for Ws, can set up for stuns very easily. And V3 Esports thinking about sinning a little bit here. You already have the Kalista, so you might as well double down. So you're going to lock themselves in the Renekton, and what will accompany it into the mid lane? There's a couple early aggressive picks still on the table, but not a whole lot that Ace has played. So I believe it will be Set being moved into the mid lane, while V3 grabbing up the Blitzcrank to counter out the Jhin in the bot lane. I kind of like this coming out from V3 Esports. It will mean that Paz will have a somewhat rough matchup in the top side, as Opperman is going to pick up the Gnar once again. But we've already seen V3 Esports splitting the map in a way that definitely benefits V3 already. Lily has always been kind of, alright, we'll split the map, we'll take the bottom side, and we'll leave blank up towards the top side. Can be a little bit riskier once Paz is on a champion like Renekton, because then suddenly if you fall behind, it feels that much worse. That said, if you're able to bully out this bot lane enough to get Archer rolling, that is definitely a play route that you can rely on going through this game. Meanwhile, I think Sengoku are just in a very similar style. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is their third time with this kind of a comp in a row. And very similar to their last style, they may think that they found the winning formula. I am going to take a quick, like, 5-second break. I'm going to go refill on water just to keep myself topped off. Don't go anywhere, chat room. I love you, and I will promise I will be right back.
エンティ選手のうまさが際立ちましたが、ライナー選手も中盤のところのフックでエンゲージといったところをしっかりと決めてましたから、今回もやはりブリッツクランクは引っ張れるか否かが全てのチャンピオンになってます。隣がカリスタなので、カリスタのアルティメットで出る先、そしてそこからのアルティメットといったところで、非常にいいエンゲージというのは決めやすいですが、ただブリッツクランクを取ったからにはフックを当ててもらわないとチームとしても困りますからね。
そうですね。実はこの話してたんですよね、控え室で。
ブリッツクランク強いけど出ないですねみたいな話はしてましたね。
全く今と同じコメントしましたからね、レコルさん。
いや、
当ててもらわないと。
9を当てないブリッツクランク。
Okay, I have returned. Nothing missed. Don't worry about it. We're still looking at the comps. We're still waiting to get into this match.
多分そこでしっかりとライン選手はイエスと答えたと思いますから、楽しみにしてますね。
期待します。
Now, of course, as somebody who's played a fair bit of Jin, I think Jin might even be my most highest mastery champion, despite not playing that much ADC, but Jin Bard are both fairly susceptible to Blitzcrank. Just immobile, you do get the extra move speed, but early on, Blitz can absolutely just land a hook that opens things up. The other thing I like about Reyna being on the Blitzcrank is Reyna is such a great disruptive force. And now you have Set as well, so Pyrion is not looking to be going for shuffles. Opperman is going to have a little bit of trouble trying to set up ultimates because Set does such a good job of countering champions coming into him. He's very good at posturing defensively. The issue is sort of that Lilia doesn't quite work with that all the time. You can get a spell off onto the people he pulls in with the Facebreaker. But it will really come down to kind of what happens first. If it's like more like game 1 where Lilia was able to find a couple spells of value and Boogie was able to ultimate, set up for the set, it worked out pretty well. You can run that in the inverse if Sengoku is the ones coming into you. But right now, the catch potential is, I think, what Sengoku are going to rely on, at least early on. Having a Bard and Jin, just that long-range CC potential with the Deadly Flourish on Jin and the Curtains Call, combined with the Tempered Fate from the Bard, you can just kind of throw those around the map, catching out members, and for a champion like Lilia, who gets kind of hard countered by being caught, it could be a little bit of a rough time for them. And this is the main thing that I'm worried about when I'm looking at these comps on paper, is when you're looking at these kinds of comps, I think that while V3 can split the map the way they usually do, and they can sort of look to just divide it down the middle, say, okay, we'll just leave our bot lane with pressure, we can set up some dives, we can do that sort of song and dance like we did in the last game, or excuse me, in game 1 and in game 2 actually. I'm just curious if they'll be able to pull it off a second time in a row.
V3 スポーツ vs 戦国ゲーミングの試合スタートです。ゲーム2と同じ動きです。レボルさん、これプロシーンでも
And this time we're seeing a similar story to that of game 2, where the 5-man approach towards the bottom side here, gonna give that ward gold over to Ace in the mid lane. For Ace is actually going to be a little bit of a rough matchup. Melee into Azir is never fun, especially with Pyrion always going for a little bit more aggressive poke in the laning phase. The set, of course, has that grit passive and that just astonishing passive regen to try and find value there. But for now, it looks like fairly standard start, although I'm curious to see where Blank goes and what information he has on the enemy jungle. We'll see that ward being placed and pop the sweeper right away, which will at least mean that Ace knows where his enemy junglers started, as well as Sengoku. We'll see if they go for an invade onto the Gromp, which sets up a little bit of an interesting situation where Blank does not want to be invading right away and getting face checked by the enemy team, but it looks like he is going to go for the invade anyway. As Lilia is making her way over to that now. Trying to find a way forward. Is going to face check here. Going to see it. Will he win out on the smite fight? No, it's going to go the way of Blank. Now he's going to look for the chase down. Boogie should have enough movement speed to kite this one out from now on, but will be forced out of Lilia's own jungle there. Unless V3 have anything to say about it. Ace is trying to find his way forward. He's just going to eat a ton of damage for it. Looking for a flash E. Not quite going to get it, but he's going to get his way onto Pyrian. Meanwhile, Renekton and Anar are also trying to make their way down, but it's just not quite working out for him. Sort of a lot to do about nothing, but Blank is going to be the one who walks away a little bit heavier in the pocket. Well, Paz is looking for a little bit of action on the top side there. Tries to find the stun on the Ampaman, but doesn't quite get it. Looks like Blank is just going to be running right back at the Lilia. This is sort of the issue that Lilia can run into, but maybe if this turns into a bigger scrap here, Reyna's going to be flashing forward to get that one done, and now Blank might just be going a little bit too deep. He's going to be forced to flash away there. That should mean Crab over to Boogie, and Reyna with great initiative there to make that play happen. And we talked before about mid-set adjustment. This is just an extension of that. Game 2, Blank kind of figures out how he can bully out the Lilia and tries to play on that. This game, V3 kind of figure out where the Lilia is being exploited and play to cover it. And now with this Crab being taken by Blank, the E is going to go in there. Blank's going to find it, but he's going to get stunned up immediately afterwards. That's going to be a dead Blank. No flash to save him. And this is just great play from V3 Esports. Expert reads on his pathing, good punishes. You got bullied out of your own jungle once, but you are not going to let Blank get away with over-aggression more than just that time. So first 2 kills over to V3 Esports. Not a situation that Sengoku haven't overcome already, but a great start for V3. And while we are just continuing forward, just kind of entering idle ground for now. Neutral, as I always like to call it. First Drake up is a Mountain Drake, which would be nice for any team that picks it up. Mountain Drake is always one that you're never going to complain about having, but one-off doesn't do the most for you, especially, it does a little bit more for V3 as Renekton, although Renekton doesn't build a whole lot of resistance stats early on, Ace most likely is going for that full tank build, so not a bad position. Oh, that's a great hook over there from Reyna. The stun going on to Reyna, he's already expended his abilities, he doesn't mind. As a nice E landed from Boogie. Won't mean Ace can get the face breaker, but we'll force him away for now. Apologies, something fell just outside my window. That being said, though, this is actually something that we haven't seen a whole lot, is we see a lot of these sets with Hex Flash, you know, moving around using Nimbus Cloak Hex Flash to jump around the map. Reyna happy to do the same on Blitzcrank. And it looks like another dive opportunity is coming out here from V3. The teleport is coming in. That's going to be Paz making his way in. Stun onto Yutomeyashi, but it's going to be him taking that one up. Paz just holds aggro until the play is finished. As he's just going to back away and head back over towards the top side. 2 more kills going over to Archer means 4-0 is the score line and about 2k gold lead over to V3 Esports. V3 showing Sengoku exactly how they like to sin, and while we do call it sinning and it does put sort of a negative connotation on it, playing for the early game is not a bad strategy in the slightest. V3 are very happy to just kind of try and roll games. We talked about teams with early stat lines before, so this is just how you kind of achieve those early stats. The teleport comes in. You can wait for him pretty much the whole time to grab aggro. Ultimate's already channeled. And Sengoku have got to be getting real tired of that one, as it feels like V3's dives are just so consistent. You can make a montage off of those alone, but now the montage is going to be on to Blank getting caught out in the jungle. That's going to be the showstopper just to make sure he can't get away. I am so surprised that Blank is actually in his jungle at all. This is just V3 calling Sengoku out everywhere they go, as Ace just found a free face breaker onto Pyrion. Will mean a good trade over onto him. And this is just an odd situation to be in if you are Sengoku, where it almost feels like Sengoku won that last game and then sort of forgot how much respect they need to give V3 Esports. Which is sort of something that we talked about in the opening, where you cannot take your foot off the gas pedal against this team. You need to be putting them all the way down. Otherwise, V3 will absolutely just make it hurt for you. So I like this coming out from V3 Esports, though. This is sort of like a fake for the Rift Herald here. And that's sort of an advancement we've seen on the Rift Herald meta of rotating 5 members for Rift Herald or leaving a couple behind. Archer doesn't need to go all the way up. He just pokes his head into mid lane. He makes sure that Sengoku sees him. They back away from the Rift Herald. Archer comes back in time, able to pick up enough of that CS from the bot lane that he doesn't feel like he missed out on too much in the meantime. So, honestly, just good play, a good bait from V3 that Sengoku didn't call the bluff on. But right now, they might be calling out Opperman. The E landed, I think just means Opperman should go down there. Yep, that's going to be Opperman, who didn't watch out Eep as he gets knocked down by the Lilia W. And that's going to mean that they will secure the Rift Herald in tow. Ace going to be the one who rotates over, but being full tank set, you honestly don't need that much gold. You're really playing for the team at this point, and that's exactly the kind of player that Ace loves to, or that's a role that Ace loves to fill in so many of these team comps. And for now, it looks like they're just going to try to use it to pressure up onto this top side. Might be trying to spawn it up if they want to try and knock down this turret, but I don't know if they'll be able to get it, as Blank is going to be rotating up here. You can see Ace on his way as well, and a couple back pings are going to make that call, but oh no, Reyna's going to find another one. As Yutomeyashi does have heal at least this time, but he does not have that many places to run, unless Archer gets kind of forced into an awkward fight here. He's going to need some fancy footwork. No, a beautiful play from Yutomeyashi, as he's going to turn this one around, going to gun down Reyna a little bit. Good sidestep on the W. And that was a clean play from Sengoku. A beautiful turn from Yutomeyashi. After he eats the hook, he gets out, he uses the heal, and this was just Archer rendered a little bit too early, and Yutomeyashi uses that extra time beautifully. Yeah, a little bit of a miss on the Fate's call. The Ren doesn't quite kill Yutoto Meyashi, and then while Reina's trying to chase down the AD, Enti just does enough damage that, hey, you gotta respect the Bard damage. But speaking of respect, it doesn't look like Opperman respected Boogie in the top lane, as he did just go down again, and the turret falling along with him. Infernal Drake is up in about 20 seconds, and you know V3 have all of the momentum still to be going for that one. Sitting on about a 3k gold advantage, almost about 4. A good shutdown for Yutoto Meyashi to pick up, gets him a little bit of extra gold in his pocket, but now you have a little bit less summoners, and Archer and Reina are more than happy to repeat that performance if they get the opportunity. Maybe just add that one little extra spear to make sure that you knock down the members you're looking for if you are Archer. But that's sort of the hard part about Kalista, is it's not like other champions where you can see the execute damage. You're always kind of taking a guess on how much damage your spears are going to do. So food for thought for the Kalista, to be sure, as V3 are just going to be grabbing up this Infernal Drake. And I'm curious to see what soul we have on the Rift. Will it be Ocean? And it will be Ocean once more, which is a blessing for V3 Esports, that they now have 2 Drakes already. They have the early advantage, and they're looking. Oh my! If that had pulled him into the Lilia E, I would have been so happy. But it will at least pull out the ultimate from Pyrian, as Ace is going to flash onto him. He's going to ult him backwards. Boogie's flashing as well to just start that one up. Pyrian's going to... Oh! Going to get out in time! Narrowly dodging out on that one, as he will get to safety by following his soldiers over the wall. Dodges out on that E. 2 flashes for 1 is not a bad deal, but meanwhile on the bottom end of things, Yutoto Meyashi's going to pay for Enti being absent in the lane. That's what Blitzcrank does to Jin, unfortunately, for Yutoto Meyashi, as he gets knocked down. Another kill for Archer, as it's 8-1 already. V3 are starting to run away with this one. Fancy footwork from Pyrian to keep himself alive in that mid lane, but right now Sengoku are still struggling to be definitively on the board. Aside from a little bit of, honestly, what was Yutoto Meyashi making a huge outplay and punishing the mistakes that V3 had. Question just sort of becomes for V3 Esports now, how much do you want to rest on your winnings? You know, this is similar to that of a game of poker, where this is a situation, if it was poker, where you don't exactly have the best hand. And you're thinking to yourself, do I want to start taking some bluffs, some little bit riskier plays, so that I can keep the pressure on? Or do I want to wait for a better hand and try and play that out in the future? That's sort of the questions that run through V3's minds at this point. Because you have an early game comp. You are someone on a timer. Right now, it's a long timer. You are fairly far ahead. You've put the pressure on Sengoku. You're the one making them have a little bit of fear in their hearts. Can you keep that tempo up, or are you just going to wait until the objectives, when it's a little bit easier to set up your advantages for this kind of a game? All things in due time for V3 Esports, as right now the time for this turret is going to be up. The bot lane going to be cashing in on that one. 2-0 is the turret count for V3 Esports. They're picking up a lot of map gold. Paz is going to need to run away from this one. Going to bork him out for a little bit of move speed, but that was a little bit aggressive from Blank. I was going to say, you can't just go right over onto Paz, as he's going to pop the Dominus. That empowered W with Bork does wonders for the damage, as Blank did not have any armor to try and battle back from that one. Gets a little bit of a reality check from being 0-2 and a level behind Pause. Well, Blitzcrank is teleporting into the top lane. I think that was just a bait, that it was Pause's teleport. But either way, it's enough to make Opperman back away and not get anywhere near that turret. While now Reyna's in great position to help out on this Rift Herald. Just show up, posture himself. Meanwhile, Paz already in the bot lane ready to catch those waves. And V3 can hold on to this Drake. This Rift Herald is sort of an investment that will pay for this Ocean Drake getting to Soul Point. Well, you already have advantage. If you can take it securely and then just make Sengoku feel that much more pressured to contest the next one, not a bad position to be in. Or maybe the Rift Herald ends up just forcing them into a bad spot. You spawn it into the mid lane. Whoever goes to deal with it, you're setting up for V5. So it's just about everything V3 does paying forward for their next couple plays. That's just sort of the momentum you have to build with this kind of a comp. And right now, V3 seem to be doing that effectively. Blank's looking around, trying to keep tabs on the V3 jungle here. But this is also part of the benefit of having a Blitzcrank, is he commands so much space, but a teleport's going to be coming in. Boogie might just be the target. Gonna have a lot of extra move speed. Oh, beautiful sleep will cancel the curtain call. Will mean you don't have that up for the next few fights, but ultimately deterring that play and keeping Boogie alive was top priority there. So, fine situation to be in. As a Drake is a little bit angry, he's going to try and walk over to Blank as they're going to put damage into it. Forces another flash. That's just going to be a lot of flashes already being burned by Reyna as Opperman gets found out on the other side. They are going to pass over the Ocean Drake. We'll see if they punish Opperman for it. For now, though, just taking mid lane priority. Rift Herald didn't pay you for an Ocean Drake, but does pay you for a mid turret and maybe two, as Sengoku are routed to the other end of the map here. It's just going to be two Drakes over to, two turrets over to V3 Esports. So the net gold advantage heavily benefiting V3 there. No kills as well given over to the side of V3 Esports, so just ultimately a fine position to be in as Opperman. It's a little bit in an awkward position here. He should just be going down here. I don't think Mega's going to save him. You can pop the ultimate all you want. It's not going to be enough to get you to safety as Reyna's going to pop the ultimate saying, all right. Let's not let him get away now. Takes that kill for himself just to ensure the kill goes through at all. 9-1, still a fine position for V3 Esports, but not an unfamiliar position for Sengoku. There were periods where they were down in the last game, and they battled back once they got their scaling. So right now, Sengoku once again in a position to just bide their time, count the minutes, serve your sentence until you get online, and you can start asserting yourself as the team you want to be, but it'll be up to V3 to make that difficult. One thing I am kind of looking at, and I'm scratching my head a little bit, is Ace's build here. Not a full item completed on him, as he kind of has this awkward garage sale of items. Chain vest, bombies, you have a giant spell, you have a spear, you have a cowl that's just all kind of sitting here, not really doing a whole lot. Likely we'll be going for the dead man's first, but it's a little bit of an awkward position to be in if you are the set. So has plenty of HP and enough resistance stats that he's not going to get blown up immediately, so it's not bad by any means, but still 20 minutes in and not a single completed item is definitely not what you want to be seeing from your mid laners. So he's about 50 CS down, period. And that's just exactly what Pyrian loves to do. Be a bully on that pick there. His sleep is going to be dedicated, but a magical voyage is going to get him off to safety. That felt a little bit hopeful from V3 Esports. You land one and you pop the ultimate, hoping that you can follow it all the way through. It's not the worst call in the world because you you will have the ultimate back up in time for the Ocean Drake, so But now potential here. Gotta find a hook. Is this the fight that they want? It looks like it is. The Rend is gonna come through onto one. The Magical Voyage is only gonna get empty to safety, as Blank is gonna be caught out alone in the river there, and V3 can just go right over to Baron. That's a carry and a jungler dead. As teleport's gonna be coming in here, the wave is already shoved into the bot lane, so Sengoku need to go pick that up or forfeit it. And it looks like they're gonna opt to do just that. Right now, Baron over to V3 Esports. What a great catch from V3. And I wonder if this was possibly a bait on V3's side of things. You use the Boogie ultimate and Sengoku kind of feel overconfident. Now they're like, oh, well, we got rid of the Lilia ultimate. We feel like we can go forward now. But this is just Reyna and Archer setting up a beautiful play. Sengoku just walking a little bit too far forward. What a blind hook. Just keeping perfect tabs on where Yotome Ash was going to be standing. There's a couple more members than you expected, but if you're going to clean win the fight, but because you have a 4-1 at that point, Kalista, hey, you can take a fight. You can take that 3v2 and still manage to come out on top. And a little bit of extra momentum, almost about an 8 to 9k gold advantage, means this Ocean Drake should be fairly uncontested by Sengoku. Well, V3 are just looking to clear up a bit of that deeper vision. You want to keep tabs on where Sengoku is going and what they're trying to farm. Now, another way that I think V3 are kind of adjusting is how aggressive they are on the jungle creep, and could be something that they need to be looking at, as now you already have Sengoku on the back foot. You don't want to leave them any gold that they don't deserve. And taking away as many jungle camps as possible is exactly how you want to do it. Well, you know, the LCK talk is always of how important freezing is. It's not quite as popular in the LJL yet. Hasn't quite gotten there, so the focus on jungle camps is really what I think sets LJL apart in just scouring jungle, relieving any respawned camps to just get maximum gold off of the map. As they will be knocking down a turret on the bottom side. It looks like they might be trying to go for a play onto Pause here. He's going all in. He's putting a lot of damage into Opperman, but he should have Mega. He's got to flash away. Ace is showing up here to help him. That's going to be the dunk. That's going to be a lot of damage onto Blank, actually. They try to finish off Opperman. The Facebreaker buffered well, but not going to be enough to punish him all the way down. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Curtain Call is going to be popped here, just trying to clear out the waves. Archer not going to be able to scoot his way out of that one. Enti going very low, going to get popped down by Archer there. As the face call is not going to go all the way in. Reyna doesn't want to go too deep. They're not going to be able to get the turret down as well. They will have to wait one more wave. And 15 seconds on the Baron clock means they might be able to at least open up the turret. It looks like they are going to be doing just that. Well, Paz is still hanging around in this top side by himself. Popping all of that Fury might have been a bad idea, as now Paz is in a little bit of a worse for wear position. No flash over the wall. He's just going to be going down for that one. That was just a little bit greedy from Paz, and he likely knew that. Pushed way too far up after his bot lane lost pressure. Benefit, of course, is that they did have to keep Opperman and Blank on that side of the map for so long, and it now means that NT does not have any safety wandering through his own jungle, as well as the turret, the inhibitor being opened on the bottom end of the map. This is just sort of... This is just honestly looking like V3's game to lose. Complete control of the map state, as Sengoku played way too hard to punish Paz, who didn't even have that big of a shutdown on him. Meanwhile, you're losing everything on the bottom end of the map. Benefit to Pyrian is that he did get a lot of mid lane gold from his time solo farming there. And he does have 2 items now, and your core items. It's just not the most ideal scenario for Sengoku. And I'm a little bit troubled that they were so willing to give up their bottom inhibitor for this.
もうライナーもダメージ受けるようなポジションに走ってますからね。
Especially with Baron and Ocean Soul 4v3 being on the menu soon, you're going to have to deal with that bottom inhibitor for at least a full minute and then some while you're trying to contest for this objective. So
組み立ててるように見えますからね。今回ここカリスタを早めに抑えてたアッシュではなくカリスタであるということで、ケイトリンを嫌ってるじゃないですか。
はい。
ケイトリンもリーヤとちょっと合わせづらい。
as it stands right now, you can put a bit more pressure on the top side as V3 are kind of trying to teeter-totter where their vision is kind of focused. And this is just the typical play and counterplay. Sengoku want vision around the Drake because they know it means soul points, so they start pushing in for that. All the while, V3 are just going to try and take everything off the top side and move their vision now. Why fight for the Drake vision when you're not even going to be there anytime in the immediate future? Free turret up in the top side taken. Now you can revert onto this bottom side and start looking for vision. Now, this is going to look like an opportunity for V3 as Ace is going to get found by Blank, but he knows his target is just really Opperman. He's going to pull him in and around. Opperman should just be going down here. No, the Redemption actually should be keeping him safe as Ace is going to try to get away from that one. Meanwhile, he gets found out by a Blitzcrank. But this is just going to be an awkward position for Archer to be in as he's going to get knocked down. It's a 1-for-1 so far as Boogie's trying to run away from that one. Reina should be down next. Little bit of a disconnected fight from V3 Esports and an appropriate punish from Sengoku, where just awkward members of V3 entering on the wrong ends of the fight end up just going the way of Sengoku, where you could just punish this bot lane duo that is somehow found themselves being pincered by all 5 members of Sengoku Gaming. So watch this one more time. Ace goes for this play, and it's fairly understandable. You know, this should work in all rights, but NT throws down the Redemption, gets him healed up. And then at this point, you're running away. I like that Reina looked for this play, but this is V3 Esports not respecting that they had no vision on this side of the map. They had no control, and they had been giving that up for their top side plays earlier. Sengoku just kind of sweep away with that one. Still heavy gold advantage over to V3 Esports, so you can't be too upset about this whole situation. But definitely a hard chin check that Sengoku dished out there. While they're looking for a play here, that's going to be Pause popping the dominance. The Facebreaker's onto the Bard, so he's going to be locked up on one end of the fight. Meanwhile, the Blitzcrank hook is going to find out Pyrian. And NT goes down as well. Lilia going to be picking up that kill. They should be able to knock down another inhibitor here or go immediately over to this Baron. And it looks like Baron is on the menu for him. Ace and Pause immediately running over to the Jhin. He's trying to run for his life. Already channeled his back. He should be safe, but can't stick around in that mid lane for too long. You know V3 are just kind of hunting down these side lanes wherever they can find them. Any lone member has no safe haven, says V3 Esports. And honestly, this is just V3 fixing what we talked about from the last game. Is just like they had this weird inactive mid to late game where they weren't quite active enough. Sort of spend a lot of time resting on their laurels, but now V3, it just feels like at every opportunity they can, they're finding kills, they're looking at side lanes, they're punishing effectively. This looks like the V3 you expect to see on a good winning day. So honestly, great stuff for them starting this way. And now they're sort of faced with the same situation they were before, where pushing into Pyrian can be somewhat difficult. Pushing in to, honestly, just that amount of lane clear is always going to be difficult, but cracking open this base is going to be on the menu for V3 Esports as they knock down another turret, trying to push in for more. So bowling ball is not going to land on anyone of immediate value. And curtain call just kind of popped out there. Will force Utodamiyashi back as Reina throws out the Blitzcrank arm there. Archer not going to get stunned. A beautiful flash. He's going to be forced to retreat back there. A deadly flourish might seal his fate as Pyrian's going to go in for a beautiful shuffle there. Going to find two. That's going to be advantage to Sengoku as they find a third one there. A great punish from V3 Esports. Or excuse me, a great punish on V3 Esports. While Paz and Ace were not able to be there to offer the front line that they really need to be offering for their team. So watch this one more time. This was a great flash from Archer, but just a little bit overzealous in his damage. He flashes down up into the left, which is just away from where his team is right now, while the rest of his team is trying to fight Opperman solo. Just gets sort of picked apart. No tanky members to stand behind means Pyrian has all of the freedom in the world to go for that play. And now if you're Sengoku, confidence has to be feeling a little bit better. You found another fight win. You still have 2 inhibitors down, which is unfortunate when this Ocean Drake comes up, but if you can delay it that much longer, already on 3 items, Pyrian is on a line, and you're going to have your Jin online shortly thereafter. But V3 are going to take up vision control around this Ocean Drake. They want the soul. And Sengoku knows it, so they're going to pop the curtain call, trying to track down any members they can. Boogie's going to flash away, going to pop the ultimate. Will force cleanse from Pyrian. He's looking to harass him out. Meanwhile, on the other end of the fight, Reina's doing everything he can, but that's a huge ultimate from Opperman. Will it be enough to win the fight as the wall comes in and bounces so many members back? But the rest of V3 Esports have not gone down yet. They clean up this fight beautifully. As Sengoku find a good combo, but they can't finish anyone off. And V3 kind of run away with this one. They're looking to end the game because Opperman is the only remaining member, and he does not have anywhere safe to go, while Boogie is just going to be able to harass him down. V3 looks like they're going to take game 3 here. 2-1 is going to be the series count. V3 putting themselves up to series point, taking us to game 4 as Lilia finds the ace there. His team ends the game. Good stuff to V3 Esports, taking it to Sengoku in a very dominant fashion. It's everything we talked about of how important mid-set adaptation is. Everything that Blank adjusted to going from game 1 to 2 is immediately punished going game 2 to 3. Couldn't ask for a better set from V3 as far as teams paying attention. So now, as is the inner game of tennis, V3 passing it back to Sengoku. Where is the adjustment from Sengoku? What are we going to be seeing them bring out? Apologies if I'm falling off a little bit here. I can feel my voice starting to strain a little bit. I do apologize for that, but we'll be staying strong for you guys. As always, I am Dr. No. I do all of the English broadcasting for the LJL. My operation is entirely solo, so your guys' support is greatly appreciated, as I love to be able to offer hopefully quality content for you guys. And I always appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys are interested in catching the rest of the playoffs in English, you can drop a follow here below. And you can leave a follow over on my Twitter to find out when I'm posting VODs and other content like that. All of that being said, though, going to be taking another quick break while we wait for the match to get started up. Don't go anywhere, as we're going to have Game 4 coming up here soon.
グラブ次第テレポートからもう逃れることはできないタワー下。ただうまくエンティがスタンをしましたが、それでもパズのテレポートから強引にタワーダイブ。ダブルキルは V3。
完璧ですね。
いやブランクの位置分かっている。
うわ
そして
また
フラッシュインのフック、サイレンスからのノックアップ。アーチャーイグゾースト勝率は、いやーフラッシュで埋めた。糸り前しこれは捉えることに成功か。いやここスネアからエンティがうまく立ち回ってフィナーレ。ライナーは止めるか。いやーちゃんとそれ当てんのかよ糸り前し。ライナーもうマナがない。たださすがにダメージは足りません。いやー戦国よくこのボットで2部にさばきました。で入りに行くがフック、ゆとり前しに当てるライナー。イグナイトも入っている。そこにアーチャー。さらにはいやこれはエースがしっかりアルティメットで捕まえていました。なんということだライナー。アパメンが 1v1 で仕掛けましたが、そこにエースブギ寄ってブランクのカバーですが、ショーストッパーメガスターンに2人には決まっています。そこにリデンプション間に合ったが、いや子守歌2人に決まってはいますが、体力が低いので前に出られないか。おっとフィナーレを後ろからというシーンですが、そこにアーチャー宿命の呼び声。ただイグゾーストからエンティのスターン、その間にブギが1キル獲得。さあそして後手の分差レでピリアンが何とかして捉えたが、アーチャーを倒すことに成功。これで1ストレート、さらには勝率これで2キル獲得は戦国ゲーミング。長い縦に長い集団戦でしたが2キル獲得は戦国です。